Hello and welcome to another episode of the Gears Tech Zone. I'm Michael.
I'm Di.
And today we're going to talk to you a little bit about something we get a lot of questions for here at the bike shop. What's the difference between a performance road bike and an endurance road bike? What do we have here today, Di?
We have here two bikes that are very similar to the naked eye. Both Cannondale, both carbon, both 51 centimeters, both with the same Shimano 105 componentry. So again, to the naked eye, they look the same. On paper,
Exactly.
they're quite different.
That's true. I mean, once we start to pull the tape measure out on these things, there are some very, very interesting differences between these two bikes, and that really comes down to sort of almost helping us explain or also give you the reasons why there are some very, very distinct differences between a performance and an endurance road bike.
So the numbers, without getting into the geometry rabbit hole, we took stack and reach on these two bikes, and it's quite different between the two of them. Stack is basically your measurement from the bottom bracket to a horizontal line from the top of the head tube. On the Super 6, we have 535 millimeters of stack. The Synapse has 550 millimeters of stack, both same size bikes. However, the reach is actually the same on both of them at 378 millimeters.
Yeah, and that's pretty cool because these bikes really are designed to fit and accommodate similar size riders. The other big difference that we see when we sort of put the tape on these two bikes really is the size of the length of the wheelbase on these two bikes. The Synapse has a much longer wheelbase than the Super 6 Evo. The Synapse wheelbase right now on a 51 centimeter frame is 1,002 millimeters compared to the Super 6 Evo, which is 996 millimeters. And that's a relatively big difference, upwards of 6 millimeters between the two bikes. Where that really comes into play is on the Synapse. We have much longer chainstays on the back end of this bike. As well, the head tube angle on the front of that bike, we've just kicked that fork out a little bit. There's a slight difference in the angles, and what that does is we put all that together, we have a longer wheelbase.
Yeah. So now we have the numbers. What does that mean?
Excellent question, Di. I guess kind of out of the box, sort of first rider impressions. A longer wheelbase results in a couple of almost immediate differences between these two bikes. The longer wheelbase allows for what we call vertical compliance, or there's a little bit more flex that's happening in the rear stays and the front fork of that bike. The other big difference that we get between the two bikes is on the Synapse, the capacity and ability to actually run and ride a much more higher volume tire. So that higher volume, more air between you and the road, adds to the comfort of the bike and adds to maybe a little bit more versatility, and I want to maybe do a little bit rougher roads, a little bit rougher terrain. In fact, there's no reason why you couldn't put a narrow gauge gravel tire on one of those bikes.
And then on the opposite side, the Super 6 with a tighter wheelbase. On the back end, it means it has shorter chainstays, which translates to a better power transfer between the pedals to the wheel. The head tube angle on the Super 6, again, a little bit tighter. It allows you to have a much more precise cornering. Really dives in.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and again, when we kind of get people out test riding some of these bikes, what we find is the feedback we get, and also the way Di and I have ridden many of these bikes in the past. What I kind of like to look at is sort of the performance road bike, depending on sort of the rider experience, that bike's going to feel super precise, very, very responsive. It's kind of on that razor's edge. Similarly, but kind of opposite, when we talk about the Synapse, a rider who is used to sort of the sort of
performance,
exactly, of the bike, that may find that bike, a little sluggish, a little, not quite so precise when it comes to kind of handling corners. But the rider who is getting into riding
Yep.
They're going to jump on this bike and they go, "Oh my goodness, that thing is just squirrely as hell."
Yeah.
And when they jump on a bike like
more,
this, yeah, it's
much more predictable.
very much predictable, very sort of confidence inspiring. And if you haven't been on a road bike in a number of years, or you're just getting back onto road bikes, very, very confidence inspiring on something like an endurance bike such as the Synapse.
Yeah. And like I always said, it doesn't mean that this bike's uncomfortable or this bike's slow. They're both comfortable. They're both performance bikes, just different. Experience.
Exactly, and when it comes to sort of the comfort on these bikes, keep in mind, the pros, the folks that are racing, they are regularly pushing 150, 250 kilometers on these bikes.
Yeah,
so
hours and hours on the saddle.
Exactly. Where we get the comfort on these bikes is making sure that we actually have the right bike for the right rider and the right fit for the right rider. So
very important.
Exactly. And there you go. A little bit of an overview on the differences between endurance road bikes and performance road bikes. The only question remains is, what's the best one for you?
Well, that's where we come in. We have an amazing team of professionals ready to talk to you bikes. We have 3 locations across the GTA. We have the product. We have performance bikes, road bikes from different brands that you can come in, see, touch, test ride, and let's talk about what your expectations are, your goals, where you want to ride, who you want to ride with, and
yeah, exactly. And I think that's really sort of that sort of differences that we are going to sort of see between the 2 bikes. Are you looking at just getting out and joining the club and popping down to the local coffee shop, doing a nice little excursion out into some of the local roads out in the countryside? Are you an amateur rider who's looking at jumping into some racing down the road? Are you going after personal bests? Are you looking to get a few KOMs? Sorry, I'm laughing now.
There's Moccasin.
Hi, Moccasin. All right. I think on that note, because I think Moccasin's hungry,
I think so.
We'll sign off now. Any questions? You know where to find us, and we hope to see you again next time on the Gears Tech Zone. Bye for now.
Bye.